everybody, welcome to Shooter Wrestling Alliance Radio. This is the show where you're going to basically hear all of the wrestlers a part of this federation come on here and give their thoughts on their opponents, their match, the CPV in and of itself. Every show is going to be a big CPV after a certain number. So the first show is going to be SWA 1, and then the next show will be SWA 2, 3, 4, etc. And every show is going to amount to something. Some shows will have the world title main event. Some will have our mid-card title, which will be announced in the near future of what that title is going to be named. Sometimes even the tag team titles will main event. But rest assured, you're going to get some of the best action. You're going to get some of the best feuds going, because trust me, we're not here to promote who's sleeping with who. We're not here to promote these convoluted things about somebody dying and coming back to life. We're here to see athletes go one-on-one, maybe even two-on-two, to go after some of the most prestigious titles in all of Call Wrestling, which is the SWA World title, the SWA Tag Team titles, and the SWA Mid-Card title. But without further ado, while I keep getting amped up about our first show back, we have to interview the one man that is synonymous with Shooter Wrestling Alliance, and his name is the former SWA World Heavyweight Champion, Kevin Cross.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be the first guest with you, to promote our first show.
Exactly, man. By the way, my name is Steven Meadows. If you are unfamiliar with me, I am going to be the commentator of all the SWA shows, and rest assured, I will be commentating the main event, which will be Kevin Cross versus Nate the Great. Now, Nate the Great, that's a name synonymous with Call. We all know about Nate the Great. We all know about recent events in other Call promotions where he was able to get the better of everybody with his swerve. He is now going to remain in COH, a partner company that we promote. Watch COH. Call of Honor, COH Network. But there is one question I would like to ask Mr. Kevin Cross, and that is the one thing that's synonymous with you, before we get into the SWA talk, is you seem to really have this dream that you want to face Nate the Great. It has been a dream match for you, and don't get me wrong, it's a dream match for everybody. But what I want to know is, what is it about Nate the Great that draws you to want to face him?
What is it about Nate the Great? I mean, let's be honest. I have become synonymous with a few things. I was Mr. SWA. I was the Warzone Warrior back when we were still around. I've done a lot everywhere, But when I came back to bring it up against COH, I came back as the world's greatest everything. So why do I want to feud with Nate the Great? Why do I want to match with Nate the Great so bad? Is because it's the thing that just hasn't happened. I've been a part of COH since the beginning. Nate's been a part of the COH since the beginning. We're a few of the last original people from the first episode, and now it's been 4 years and still nothing. It's just been something that's been building up. It's been building to the great versus the world's greatest everything. I just feel like it writes itself. It's not about and it's not about he stole something from me. It's not like I insulted him and we're trying to do something out of revenge. No, this is something I view as out of complete respect. And very rarely do you have that in something like any CAW Fed.
I see. Let me tell you something. Kevin Cross has a notorious history with SWA that I would like to go over, because some people probably only know of Kevin Cross as Kevin Crisis from Call of Honor in his early days, who would later become Kevin Cross. But at one time when you wrestled in SWA, you weren't Kevin Cross. You were known as Nick Gabriel. You came in, and when you first came in, it didn't seem like you were destined for that top echelon spot. But I would just like to go over some of the things that made you who you are today. Specifically, when it came to your feud with Enrique, which was the forefront before you got into your main event spot with the title. Give me, what was your thoughts on Enrique and the animosity between you two over the Money in the Bank briefcase?
Would it be all right if I just give like a brief timeline of where I
Yes,
started
go right ahead.
SWA to where? All right. So SWA, I joined as Nick Gabriel, and it's funny. You could watch me not really understand myself throughout everything leading up to Enrique. First, I think I came in as a party handsome character, and handsome I am, but party I do not. Then all of a sudden I was trying to be some anarchist, and that's really when I started focusing on the Enrique Money in the Bank briefcase feud. And throughout that was just really me trying to get something that I didn't deserve at any point of that entire feud. I kept on. I think I just kept on attacking him, kept on insulting him, and what it really led to was an eye-opening match where I really kind of dropped everything that I wasn't. All of a sudden, then I became the Nick Gabriel that understood who he was, and through that, I ended up learning a lot of respect. Enrique is the reason I got to where I was. If it wasn't for my feud with Enrique, I probably would still be trying to be something that I'm not. So really, if it wasn't for Enrique, I would have never made it to the main event. I would have never saved SWA from Morris and Rick Cage. And who knows what would have happened at that point.
Speaking of which, just to give everybody a brief history of what SWA had to go through, was that there was a group called the Revolution that tried to swallow SWA whole, as well as the YLLWA Rejects, which that's what Kevin Cross was referring to as Rick Cage and Morris. They were the leaders of their respective groups, Morris being with the Revolution, Rick Cage being with the YLLWA Rejects. But the thing that's funny to me is that it never seemed like that was your initial goal, was to put an end to those two factions, until it was realized you were the prime holder of the Money in the Bank. So I do have to ask, what was it about the Revolution and the YLWA Rejects that just drew you to want to end them? Not just end them for that night at SWA WrestleMania, which will be available soon for all of your enjoyment, but the fact that you wanted to put a permanent end to them and solidify your name as the SWA World Heavyweight Champion.
I mean, you had two forces that were trying to take over, and after a point, you just get sick of it. I was tired of all these attacks. I was tired of all this bullshit that was happening in our. I'm sorry if we're supposed to be PG or not. I'm not sure, but I'm just tired of all the crap that was going on. Every show was something new. Every show was just someone else being attacked, or every show was just something else. One person trying to get ahead of each other. I was tired of it. SWA didn't need any of that crap. SWA shouldn't have been about any of that crap. And, I just keep on reiterating the same thing. I just grew tired of both of them, both forces being what they were. We didn't need them. They shouldn't have been in SWA to begin with. And at some point, someone had to put the foot down, and I was just the one that was lucky to have the briefcase that could interject themselves into that match.
Yes, definitely. And if anybody has ever seen the match, it is a half-hour-long triple threat match where all three men went in there, busted their ass. All credit to Morris and Rick Cage. They put up a good fight, but Kevin came out the better man. And this would actually prove to be, not just in SWA, but in all of CAW, your first ever world title win. Tell us, what was it like to win your first world title?
It's if anybody ever asks me about this, I always have the same response. So sorry if I feel a bit prepared, but it's one of the few moments that I still don't believe actually happens. And I know that actually sounds pretty corny, but when I look back to it, I mean, you have Morris, you have Rick Cage, two legends, and then you have a guy that basically came out of nowhere, a guy that probably shouldn't have made it to that point, but somehow did, and was there for the right reasons. And it's weird. The moment looking back on it makes me feel like some kind of a superhero. You have two evil big bads swooping down on SWA, and I was the guy that knocked him out.
And surely you did. You made history that night, and Gluteus Maximus, who is the spokesperson for SWA and all SWA correlations, you basically got his respect in the end, which is a very tough thing to do. But obviously, SWA has had its ups and downs, and currently it's trying to make its way back up in a more different light than any other colleague out there. It's still going to have your entertainment factor. You're still going to get your comedy. You're still going to get your drama. You're still going to get all of that. It's just going to be less convoluted. But I would just like to ask, from that time period, what have you been doing with yourself in CAW from the time that SWA decided to close its doors to this current point where you're preparing for your match with Nate the Great?
What I've been doing in CAW since the last time I was in SWA, which I think last time I was in SWA I was getting beat down by some assholes, but in CAW in general, I tried to. I was there when VCW came back for a moment. Became their United States champion, and I made some big strides in COH. I'm glad Nate's still in COH. Hopefully that our paths cross there as well. But other than that, I've been popping in and out of other feds. I've been just providing the best entertainment that I could. I've been proving in every show I possibly can that I truly am the world's greatest everything. I mean, currently I'm in CWS and I'm in a tournament for one of their titles, and I'm doing very well. And I'm just trying to stay on top of my game and just trying to not get rusty. And leading up to this match with Nate the Great, the match that I have been dreaming about for so long, to happen properly like it should. I'm training and I'm just making sure that we put on one hell of a match for the SWA fans.
Definitely, definitely. And again, the question will come to Nate when the time comes where I interview Nate and ask him for his credentials. But I would like for you, to anybody who's not familiar with Kevin Cross, why don't you tell everybody all the credentials that you have accomplished in CAW to explain why people should care about you?
To explain why people should care about me, I mean, first off, I'm the world's greatest everything. I mean, I don't feel like there's anything else that needs to be said, but I was I was a former COH world champion. I didn't lose the SWA championship. I understand that we kind of went under for a second there, but in all terms and purposes of it, the matter, I feel like I'm still the SWA champion. I held the SWA Money in the Bank after gaining it from Enrique. In COH, I've also won the Honor Rumble. I was a one-time YWF tag team champion, if it's all right that I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, I've done so many things. In VCW, I was actually their United States champion. I think I've mentioned that before. And other than that, those are all my big accomplishments that I can recall. Those are the ones that at least I feel like are worth mentioning. I feel like they give you a good mindset that not only am I the world's greatest single competitor, but I also work well in teams. And no matter where I end up, I always get gold.
Interesting. Now, we've gotten to know you a little bit, but we'll never get to know the whole picture just by you saying it. Obviously, the only way they will be able to ever know who Kevin Cross is to relive all of the memories that Kevin Cross has given to us that is still available on YouTube throughout all CAW promotions such as SWA, COH, YWF, CWS, etc., etc., etc. But I want to go back to Nate because, again, this is the big match.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we've already asked you why you want this match with Nate. But what is your thoughts on Nate as a person?
Nate as a person, I mean, you don't really hear that question a lot. Nate as a person, I mean, I I have no problem with Nate. It's a lot of the same reasons as to why I want this match. He's a person who I respect a lot, and there's really no reason for that. He's just a all in all. He just seems like a perfectly decent person. He's from Jersey. I think he still lives in Jersey. I was born in Jersey. I've been in Jersey for a little bit, so there's some kinship there. No, it's just a matter of I'm not gonna lie. I've spoken with him obviously, and it's just a matter of I respect him. He's a totally respectable, cool, just in general nice guy who I view we have a weird kind of friendship that can come from this.
That's definitely interesting, but you obviously have respect, so everybody knows now this match is not based out of animosity between you two. It's not based off of some old feud that's being dug up. It's not based off of anything that involves any type of anger or remorseless actions that want to be committed to each other. It's basically two guys who respect the hell out of each other, who have never fought one-on-one, who just want to see who can outperform the other. But my question is, who do you think, going into the first ever show, SWA 1, who do you think is going to leave SWA 1 as the SWA World Heavyweight Champion?
That's a good question. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I said that I still view myself as the SWA champion, and I claim to be the world's greatest everything. And at the end of SWA 1, I'm going to prove this by walking out as SWA champion. I respect Nate. I really do. He's an amazing person. He's an incredible competitor. He's one of my people that I constantly watch in all these different feds. But he may be the great, but he's not the world's greatest everything. That title is reserved for me. And speaking of titles, again, I never lost the SWA title. And in my mind, I'm still the SWA champion. I'm walking into that match as the SWA champion, even though I don't have the belt. And I'm walking out with the belt. And that's just a fact.
Very certain from the former SWA World Champion. Well, I've got one more request out of you. And even though you've said pretty much what you've needed to say in that last bit, I want you to grab that microphone right now that you're speaking into, and I want you to talk to Nate like as if he's in this room right now. And I want you to tell him what's going to happen at SWA 1 when you and him step into that ring, face each other eye to eye, and the referee rings the bell to signify that this match is for the SWA Championship and it's time for you two to get it on.
Listen, Nate, I respect you, son of a bitch. You're incredible. We're both amazing competitors. We're going to put on one of the greatest, if not the greatest match, probably of all time. Without a shadow of a doubt, I have no doubt at all that this is going to be an incredible match for the lifetime. It's going to live up to the hype, as hard as that may be, because we are going to go in there and, we're going to put on just one hell of a match. We're going to give it all we got. Everything's going to be left in that ring, but no matter what happens, I'll still respect you, but trust me when I say there is no chance you're walking out with the title, because that is something that I never lost and I will never lose. This is something that means way too much to me to lose to anyone, even someone that I respect as much as you, Nate. Trust me, no matter what happens in this match, I can't lose this title. I went through hell to get this title, and I'm not losing it to anyone, even you.
Interesting. Kevin, I would like to thank you for joining us on Shooter Wrestling Alliance Radio. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you luck in your match against Nate the Great at SWA 1.
Thanks for having me, and everybody be sure to check out SWA 1.
Yes, everybody. Hopefully you will enjoy the show. We will have more interviews with more of our superstars coming up. It's been a pleasure. Catch you later.